Welcome to Poland Daily History with me, Nicholas Richardson. And in this episode, we're continuing this great love story from post-war Poland. And I'm delighted to be joined in the studio by my colleague, Adam Starzyński, to help me continue this fascinating story. Adam, welcome back.
Thank you.
And we left the last episode with the love story in sort of flight is probably the wrong word, but in mid-excitement.
Well, the circumstances were horrible for the two lovebirds, but it's an interesting story. The concept itself is unimaginable, I assume, for most people. To remind the viewers that I either don't remember it or didn't see the previous episode, I can reveal that we were talking about the love story between Wiesława Pajdak and Jerzy Śmiechowski. Ms. Pajdak was the daughter of a prominent socialist politician who nevertheless was an opponent of the communist takeover of Poland after the Second World War. Jerzy Śmiechowski had helped an important politician from the agrarian Polish People's Party, Stefan Korboński, to escape Poland as the communists tightened the screws in 1947 in connection with the falsified election. They both ended up in a Stalinist prison, initially a jail as they were awaiting trial. And they started communicating with each other through the wall with the use of Morse code as they were placed in the cells, well, not in the same cell, but on the other side of the wall, so to say, in the cell right next by. And we mentioned in the previous episode that it was very risky to communicate in these ways. You could end up in the so-called closet where you could barely move. It would be maybe a meter, 20 centimeters in height of this little, a box could probably be the best term to call it. However, after a good 6 months of this communication going on in the cell, there was for a moment some fear because Wiesława was moved suddenly to a different cell, and she thought that she had lost contact with the man that just after a few days they had decided that they would live the rest of their lives together. It turned out, nevertheless, that when she started communicating with her new cellmate in the new cell, it turned out that it was Śmiechowski who had also been moved, just as she had been. The only difference was that in this new cell, they didn't communicate through sound. They still used Morse code, but in this case, with the help of light and shades, there was some light that could be obstructed, and through that you could send more signal codes through the help of intermittent shade and light. After another 6 months of communication, of course, they needed each other to take their minds off things. In the prison, it was a lot of psychological torture, you could say. The prison here on Rakowiecka Street, Bohotów prison here in Warsaw, was infamous for being one of the centrals for persecution of political dissidents, members of the military underground that kept fighting against the Soviet Union after the Second World War. And throughout the night, they could hear other prisoners being tortured. They were themselves tortured from time to time, and also frequent executions. The political prisoners were executed either by firing squad or by a single executioner delivering the so-called, here in Poland at least, the cutting method, so a shot to the back of the head, while common criminals, of which there are also many, were also from time to time executed, often for collaboration with the Nazi Germans during the Second World War. The common criminals, however, were just hanged. But these frequent gunshots that would ring off in the night and torture and so on, it made them both very afraid and made them turn to each other even more for consolation. After 6 months in this new cell, suddenly Mr. Chmiechowski, without very much time to spare, signaled that he received a 6-year prison sentence and he was being moved from this jail to a prison. He had really no time to talk further, but he said that he loved her and he would always remember her. After they were separated, it became possible for them to start exchanging letters with each other. And this was a big step forward in a way, since now they could send photographs of each other. So finally they both knew how the other person looked like. After another couple of, almost a year and a half passed before there was really any changes in what happened. Ms. Pajdak was freed of her charges. She wasn't sentenced to a prison term. She was allowed to leave prison.
Adam, I'm just going to have to stop you there. The clock has defeated us, but we'll be back to discuss this. There we are. I've had to stop Adam almost in mid-sentence, defeated by the clock as usual. But we'll be back next time to continue the story. So do join us then, again, on Poland Daily History. Thank you for watching.